All right, hello there, South Mississippi. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Thank you for waking up with Wesley. So, of course, our weather is really nice today, but this time around, we're going to take a look back at 2 days ago, Mardi Gras. And there was some severe weather that evening across our region, and we were thinking yesterday morning, Wednesday morning, that we were mostly spared in the 6 southernmost counties. However, yesterday, in the middle of the day, the National Weather Service did a damage survey of some storm damage in George County, and they actually were able to confirm that that damage was the result of a tornado that touched down in George County. They made that confirmation yesterday evening. So it's been interesting to monitor and watch the timeline of all of this, with the storms hitting on Tuesday evening, the confirmation from the damage on Wednesday evening, and here we are on Thursday morning. We're going to take a look at the results of their survey and kind of a recap of the first alert radar. So this is a look at what the radar looked like after all the parades were done. We were telling you on Tuesday that we were not concerned about rain and storms impacting parades, and most of the rain and storms did not move in until after 5 or 6 in the evening. There you can see around 6 p.m. Pearl River County was getting the front line of those showers and thunderstorms, and then we go to 7 p.m. and you basically see all of those warnings popping off across the area. So there was severe thunderstorm warnings in Hancock, Pearl River, Stone, Harrison, and George counties during that time frame. And look, wind damage reported near Wiggins. And I believe there was also a report, there it is, of wind damage to the east of Picayune in northern Hancock County from that line of severe weather. Of course, later during the 7 o'clock hour, those storms moved into Gulfport, Biloxi, and they also moved into, at the same time, George County. And look at this, a tornado warning popped up just before 8 in the evening, and that was a good warning because there was a tornado associated with that, and people probably only had moments to get to safety. I think the warning only occurred maybe around 7:50, maybe 7:51 or later, and the tornado itself formed just a few minutes after that, based on what we have seen with the damage and with the radar data that we have available to us. That particular system then moved from George County into Mobile County, Alabama, and you can see the warning box there continued in areas to the north of Mobile. And then this whole storm line began to move over the Alabama line. Let's take a look at a damaged photo from Stone County. This is before we get to the George County tornado. We did get someone to send us a picture in the WLOX weather app of this storm damage in Wiggins. A pine tree that fell down at a house in the Wiggins area. And we'll take this so you can see it a bit larger on your screen. You know, you look at this and you say, whew, that was a close one. Fortunately, no car was parked in the driveway at that moment in time, because if it were, it would have got flattened a little bit by that pine tree that fell in that area. You can see other trees in the distance were just fine, so it's not like every tree fell, but that particular one was downed, and it looks like it was probably the result of wind, although I do see some exposed bark. It almost makes me question if it was lightning instead, but I think it was mostly wind, but I think we need more of a picture to know for sure. Now, switching from Wiggins to George County, this is a look at the tornado path and track. You can see Loosedale is situated about here on the map. The tornado was to the south of Loosedale. It was actually between Loosedale and Agricola. You can see the very small path there taking place between Highway 613 and 63, and it moved from southwest to northeast. Now, taking a look at the stats, it was a pretty skinny twister. The width was only 30 yards. You know, you think of a football field, 100 yards. The width of this is only a third of a football field wide. Most twisters are usually wider than that, typically, to my knowledge. Now, the length was very short. It didn't even move 1 mile before it lifted. So it only lasted for 1 minute and only covered 1 mile. So it was not a long track tornado. It was very brief, lasting only a minute. Fortunately, no injuries, no fatalities. But EF1 tornado, the scale goes from EF0 to EF5. So EF1 is on the lower end of the scale. But when we're talking about tornadoes, the lower end of the scale is 100 mile per hour wind. And it's enough wind to cause damage in those areas. So this is a look at the scale for EF1 twisters on the enhanced Fujita scale. And you can see that those types of twisters have winds of 86 to 110 miles per hour. You can look at the rest of the tornado damage scale because these twisters are not really rated on the wind. They're more so rated on the damage that they cause. And with an EF1 tornado, they can cause moderate damage with those types of winds. Typically, you can see roofs stripped, mobile homes overturned or badly damaged. There's a loss of exterior doors to some buildings, and some windows and other glass is broken. Of course, weaker than that, you have EF0, where you have less damage, only minor damage. And then stronger, you can get up to EF2 and EF3. Those are considered strong tornadoes where the damage becomes more severe. And then, of course, you go even higher than that, EF4, EF5, that's the top of the scale. Those types of tornadoes are considered violent. And you can see either some devastating or incredible things when you have a tornado that is that strong. Cars can be thrown, small objects are launched like missiles because of the strong winds. Well-constructed homes can be completely leveled or just completely swept away. Car-sized objects can be launched through the sky with an EF5 tornado. High-rise buildings significantly damaged. And just things that you just don't know that can happen. It just becomes unpredictable. When you get an EF5, the basic way to say it is stuff that you are not used to happening will happen in that range on the scale. Now, we've got some damaged photos. Again, this was an EF1 tornado, generally on the weaker end of the tornado scale. And you can see this is a pretty sizable tree that was uprooted in that area of George County between Agricola and Lucedale. There's also a few more damaged pictures. Take a look at this one. The National Weather Service took all of these pictures, by the way, during their damage survey on Wednesday. So that's why it's sunny. It's the day after those storms. That's when these pictures were taken. Look at this, looks like sheet metal maybe, and look how it's kind of twisted. You know, those rotating winds within the tornado vortex can do that twisting. It almost looks like back here, it's twisted around the base or the trunk of this tree, that sheet metal or a piece of a building. And the debris is strewn about a field, long, large field there on someone's property. Here's another damaged picture of a structure that appears to have been destroyed. Maybe it was an outbuilding or an outhouse. Now it's just a pile of debris that's sitting on a field. We have another picture here. Looks like a portion of a structure. Maybe it was a wall of one of those structures that was also destroyed. You can see this is in someone's yard, just sitting there. And here's another picture of more of that tornado debris and damage. Again, there's a home, but this other building or structure that was near the home looks like it was destroyed. Nothing left of it. It looks like we also might have had a snapped tree limb. You can see that limb coming down to the ground there. And this was the last picture that was in the set of pictures from the George County Tornado Damage Survey. Looks like cinder blocks, and they're just tossed about. You've got cinder blocks just strewn about there. Those are not light things, so it certainly would take quite a bit of wind to get such a thing to happen. We had a larger map that showed the extent of the rest of the severe weather from Mardi Gras Tuesday. We'll pull that up now. So where we were just looking, this covers the last 48 hours. So this goes from right now, Thursday morning, all the way back to Tuesday morning, any reports that you'll see on here. And you can see that confirmed EF1 tornado in George County. Oops, I meant to go back one. Let's go back one to zoom out, and you can see the rest of those damage reports along the region. So there was damage reported in Pensacola. Looks like Mobile didn't have any reports as of now, the information shows. New Orleans had some storm reports, and there were plenty of storm reports to our north in Hattiesburg. If you look up again, there's George County right here, and then 2 counties to the north of it, there was another tornado that was reported in Wayne County. Unfortunately, that one did result in injuries and did result in people losing their homes. Their homes were destroyed. We can take a closer look at some of the information associated with this one. Now, there's going to be a lot of words on the screen. We'll try to work with this. As you can see, it does say 4 injuries. So the tornado began in the forested area near Earl Pitts Road before rapidly strengthening as it crossed Highway 84. It destroyed several newer chicken farm buildings. It reached its peak intensity near GMP Farm Road. A single wide manufactured home was tossed 50 to 100 yards and destroyed. Occupants were thrown from their home, resulting in 2 injuries. Can you imagine that? Your home being tossed and you being thrown from it. That is an intense situation. You see another single family wood frame home lost half of its roof. An open carport might have been the reason why that happened. There was another manufactured home where it was rolled and more injuries occurred. So that's all 4 of those injuries, and they all occurred in manufactured homes. Not quite as sturdy as a foundation, or a different type of home rather. A few snapped trees, tree trunks, and minor damage and structural damage. So that was the one out of the county, 2 counties to the north of George County. We could take a look at the George County one right before we go here, but again, a lot of words that will pop up with this. But it's the words from the National Weather Service of their survey. So it began near the intersection of Marshall Smith Road and Cook's Corner Road, where a farm building was completely destroyed on the west side of the road. On the east side of the road, another large outbuilding or trailer was rolled off its supporting blocks and debris strewn towards the east across the entire length of the field. We saw the picture of the hardwood tree that was snapped. On the north side of the tornado vortex, another outbuilding was destroyed. A narrow corridor of debris field was no more than 30 yards wide and made a right turn as it continued across the field, depositing debris from the destroyed upstream structures. And finally, the tornado resumed a path toward the east-northeast, reaching Gavin Churchwell Road, where it uprooted a large hardwood tree that was laying northeast. And after that, the tornado lifted. No signs of any convergent damage could be found further to the northeast of that. And it's really just interesting. All of that stuff I read you, and it happened in 1 minute. So that's when we tell you to take those tornado warnings seriously. We really mean it, because it can go from 0 to 100. In this case, literally, if you think about the wind speeds, 100-mile-per-hour wind speeds, and it can do that in no time at all. We knew days in advance that there would be a severe weather threat on Tuesday in the evening. So there was plenty of time for people to prepare days in advance, knowing that you would be in a safe place on Tuesday evening when those storms would arrive. But of course, the actual warning itself, well, the specific warning for the specific area in George County, you only have moments usually from the issuance of the warning to when you have to take cover now and hunker down. Fortunately, no injuries reported in our 6 southernmost counties in South Mississippi, and our weather looks like it's going to stay nice and dry for now. We do have a quick peek at the 7-day before we go. Weather will stay nice and dry for now for Thursday and Friday, but there will be some rain chances over the weekend. Technically, Saturday and Saturday night do have a level 1 out of 5 risk of damaging storms. Not as high as the risk from Tuesday, which was a 3 out of 5. But Saturday coming up has a 1 out of 5 So it is something we'll keep an eye on, but I don't expect a repeat of whatever happened on Mardi Gras evening. Well, thank you so much for watching this update. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Have a great day.